What's up, everybody? The weekend is started. It is Friday night's late night agenda. As always, I'm your host Craig, and you are very welcome along to tonight's stream. How are we? It's International Week. Just think, after this weekend, we're through it, and then we can count down to Premier League football being back. The Reds, of course, playing Newcastle next weekend. How's everybody feeling out there tonight? I can see a few people in the chat already. How are we? John's in, Far Isle's in, Brian's in, Happily Eggs is in, Pat Moynihan's in, Bernadette's in. All the regulars are in. How are we, ladies and gents? Thank you so much for giving us your time again tonight. Lots for us to go through as always. I feel like John Oliver at the start of his show. I seem to have the same lines every single night when I come on. Just a quick recap of what's happened. There's loads for us to get through tonight as always. Tiernan Downey, how are you, mate? Well in. Press Salah, how are you, buddy? Joshua Hoy's in as well. Mac, Big Man, Steve, Joanne, everybody else. Look, couple of things to get through. Of course, you can see by the title of tonight's stream that we're going to have a little chat around Michael Owen and his book. We're also going to have a chat around a few Reds that are up for awards and a few other bits and pieces as well. But I want to wait a minute or two for people to come in because we've a lot to get through, and I know I hate going back over stuff and over again, and I know it annoys everybody else. But I do want to have a little chat about the World Club Championships as well, because there is a little bit of news after coming in about that one, and I know people have been asking about that for a while, so bit of research, a bit of digging today, and finally found a few answers for people. Mr. Crosby, as you can see, is running the Anfield Agenda account on there tonight as well, so if you have any questions, aim them at Mr. Crosby, because it isn't me. Sometimes people get confused and think it's me that's dealing with the chat. It isn't, it's Connor that's running the Anfield Agenda account there. How are we? Gary Richards, Diet Chav, it is here, buddy, as always. Jill, the difference is, do you remember last night I was saying to you I was too fucking cold because it was in the fridge? Took them out of the fridge. It's got to that point now where the summer's over, the Diet Coke are now out of the fridge, and they're just, sitting up on top of the fridge, so they're not as cold as they once were. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, details of Liverpool's participation in the Club World Cup have been announced, and I've taken the following paragraphs from an excellent article written by Joel Rabinowitz for Liverpool.com. So, Liverpool have now officially confirmed their participation in the 2019 FIFA Club World Cup, which will take place in Qatar between December the 11th to December the 21st. As winners of the Champions League, Liverpool will compete as the UEFA representatives, along with the CONCACAF representatives, which is Monterrey from Mexico, and some other club. What are they called? Hygiene Sport, I think. Excuse me if I've got that one wrong. Who are the winners of the OFC Champions League representing Oceania. The tournament will also feature teams from Africa, South America and Asia, as well as Qatar outfit El Sayed SC. If a team outside of Qatar wins the AFC Champions League, with full details to be confirmed in the coming months. Now, getting to the important stuff. Liverpool will enter the competition at the semi-final stage, and that will take place on December 17th and December 18th. They are the dates for the two semi-finals. So just to reiterate, Liverpool come into the Club World Cup at the semi-final stage as the Champions League winners, and that semi-final will either be on December 17th or December 18th, playing one of the four teams, excluding the South American opposition, who will also enter at the other semi-final stage. So, if all went to plan, Liverpool will be playing South American team in the final if both highest seeded teams got there. So Liverpool going to take place in one semi-final, South American opposition in the other semi-final, and all going well, we'll be playing them in the final. That's the news that I have regarding the World Club Championship. Again, took that from Joel Rabinowitz's excellent article. Joel always writes great stuff for Liverpool.com, so you can head over there if you want more details, because the article is far more in depth than the little part I took out there. So again, always recommend Joel's work. Excellent journal. There we go. That's the Club World Championship bit in. Connor's let me know 4-2. 4-2 to Holland in the game against Germany, which is, wow, fair play. Mad how that was reversed, wasn't it? Because Germany went over to Holland and won 3-2, and now Holland gone over to Germany and they're 4-2 up. So there you go. Right, Boya's in the house. How are you, Boya? UK beats. I'm very well, thank you, mate. And V8 to Craig, I play for Bohemians and Charlton Athletic. Put in a bid for me. 1 million, definitely not worth that. Well, you play for Bows, mate, so congratulations on that one. I don't know, mate. Charlton put in £1 million bid for you. I'm suspicious, V8. I'm suspicious. If they have, and you need an agent, do you know what I mean? Here I am, buddy. Here I am. Wijnaldum absolutely class for Holland, says Robbie. He was brilliant. And Van Dijk as well. Did you see the penalty that Germany were given, by the way? For those that are watching that haven't seen the game, I'm sure you'll see it on social media, the clip. De Ligt was penalised for a handball. It was another bullshit penalty, I have to say. De Ligt didn't even know where the ball was. He was coming out of the air and he was looking around, like genuinely looking for the ball. Hits him on the hand and the referee points to the spot. Thankfully, it doesn't look like it's going to cost Holland in that game, but it was another ridiculous decision from the officials. Clodagh said, when are you going to the USA? Next Friday, Clodagh. Our flight leaves next Friday. I wish Big Genie and Verge could play for England. I don't, obviously. I'm quite happy with them playing for Ireland. Ireland, do you hear me? Would be fucking great if they played for. I'm quite happy with them playing for Holland and Liverpool. Yeah, sorry. I can understand why you'd want them playing for England, though. They are pretty fucking good. Pat Moynihan said December 17th is his birthday. There you go, mate. That could be a nice little birthday for you. And let's not forget, if Liverpool win this competition, as I've said this before, it'll be the first time that we've won the Club World Cup. It'll be the first time that an English club will hold the Club World Cup, the Super Cup and the Champions League in one go. So we'd be the first for that. And we'd also get that sexy ass gold World Club Champions badge on our jersey for the entirety of 2020. And I'm not sure about you guys, but I want that shirt. Even though I've already got the home Liverpool shirt, I'll probably buy another one if the Club World Cup badge can go on it. Wijnaldum scored for the Dutch as well, said David Newell. You gotta love it. You gotta love a bit of Genie. Boya said, you're good, thanks, just watching the England versus Italy in the rugby. Yeah, it was mad. I was flicking between a few things tonight, mate. How are Scotland getting on? They were 2-1 down last I heard at home to Russia, and Wales were 2-1 up, I believe, against Azerbaijan. These are all, of course, before I came on. Right, a lot of people want to talk about Michael Owen. What match are we talking about? We were just talking about the Holland-Germany game, mate, which is just probably finishing up now as we speak. What do I think about Declan Rice? I don't really think... I get where you're going with it, Dean. You want me to, have a go about whether I give a shit about him playing for England or Ireland. He's made his decision. Time will tell if he's good enough to have a constant place in that English team. Actually, at the game last night, I turned around to Connor at one point. We were at the Ireland-Switzerland game. And I turned around to him and said, imagine the midfield now if we had Grealish and Declan Rice in there. And he looked at me as if to say, shut the fuck up, Craig. Don't even go there. So, it's it would be good. It would have been nice for the Republic, obviously, if we had Declan Rice, if we had Jack Grealish. But they've chosen to represent England. And look, that's their choice. They didn't break any rules. Everything was above board. Bit shit house, the way particularly Rice went about it. But it is what it is, unfortunately. Doug said Scotland are just rubbish, mountain to climb. It happens, mate, doesn't it? Like it depends on the FAs. I mean, I've an issue with the FAI myself, but it depends on the FA making sure that the Scottish FA making sure that the next generation of players are coming through, mate. Sometimes you can understand some poor results if you look and you see that there's a good crop of young players coming through. And I can't really speak with regards to Scotland, but for Ireland, it's a little bit worrying at times. It really is. Scotty said it finished 2-1 to Russia. Thank you for that one, mate. Right, let's get on to Michael Owen, ladies and gentlemen. You can see by the title of the stream tonight. We want to have a chat about Michael Owen's book, what you guys think about it, if you give a fuck about it. You've seen that he's had a bit of a spat with Alan Shearer with regards to his time at Newcastle United. I don't really have much time for Michael Owen. I don't like him. I think he's a boring pundit. Obviously, I'm not happy with the way he left Liverpool. I'm not happy with the way he went to Manchester United. But I want to get your thoughts on this, because I don't want to be the one just on here ranting and raving about Michael Owen. I'll give my thoughts as we go along, but again, it's your show, ladies and gentlemen. I want to know what you have to say on it. There has been a few things that look like it's been kind of set up to help him sell his book. He's been on a couple of radio shows, as you'd expect, publicising his book. He's had his spat with Alan Shearer. What are your thoughts on Michael Owen? How will you remember Michael Owen? That I suppose is the basic question I'm getting at here tonight. Craig, did you see what Neville said about Rice? No, but Gary Neville's been saying some weird shit lately, Ryan, mate. I mean, comparing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to an early Jurgen Klopp, saying that Paul Pogba will be player of the season. Do you know, I take anything that Gary Neville's saying lately, mate, with a massive pinch of salt. But no, I didn't hear what he said. What a strike from Glenn Whelan yesterday, said Casper. Yeah, he rattled the bar, mate. It was a really good strike, but a really powerful header as well for the equaliser, albeit with a deflection from the cross, but we'll take it. Boya said Jack Grealish chose to play for England and won't get called up. Clodagh said, are you going to watch the Rugby World Cup? Yes, yeah, I will, definitely. Definitely will watch the Rugby World Cup, Clodagh. Bernard Farrell said, no, you were talking to somebody else. People try to forget how good Owen was in 2001, or people tend to forget, said Sean Leonard, how good Owen was in 2001. Had a major influence on the cups we won that year. You can forgive him for joining United, but you can't forget how good he was for us. Well, firstly, I can't forgive him for joining United, Sean. Personally, that's my view, mate. You are right. In that game against Arsenal in particular, and the FA Cup final, he turned that around himself. If it wasn't for Michael Owen's 2 moments of brilliance, we wouldn't have won that cup because Arsenal were the better team. But that being said, I just never liked Michael Owen. You can't deny how good he was. I will absolutely agree with you there, Sean. His record spoke for itself, but I just don't like him. I don't like him as a person. I don't like the way... And this is just my thoughts. I thought he leaned a little bit more. I'd call him England's Michael Owen before I would ever have called him Liverpool's Michael Owen. And it doesn't sit well with me that he's an ambassador for the football club. That's again just my opinion. Can we please see the top of your shiny head? Yes. There you go. It's beautiful. Look at it. Beautiful head. There you go. Have you got a fetish or something, mate? If you want to see the top of my shiny head? I mean, I don't know. I'm happy to please. Right, Cavalier said Prime Owen is better than Prime Fowler. No, he wasn't. Robbie Fowler's the most natural fucking finisher I've ever seen in my life. There's a reason one of them is called God, mate, and one of them isn't. Prime Robbie Fowler was fucking unbelievable. But that's, again, just my opinion. Aidan Andrew said England's Michael Owen. You got Steven Gerrard involved as well. I'd seen that. I'd seen a little article earlier on that said that he reckoned Liverpool tried to force Steven Gerrard out 2 years before he left to play for LA Galaxy. Again, what the fuck's he bringing Gerrard into it for? I mean, it's his book, I suppose. He can say what the fuck he wants, but yeah. What's your thoughts? Michael Owen's the most boring pundit ever. Never liked him as a player. What is his book about? His career, basically, Casper, and giving his views on certain situations when he joined Newcastle, his views on, I suppose, Newcastle as a city, his views on Liverpool, his time at Real Madrid. Kai said Owen was the captain of the Newcastle team that got relegated for the first time since 2 decades. Owen's book is really good, as kindling, said Sean Cable. I was getting worried there for a second, John. Brian said we lost nothing when he left. He said it himself, his knees were shot by the time he left for Madrid. Michael Owen, are we really bothered? Said Seahog. You would be surprised. I mean, as we can already see from the chat tonight, there are some people who look back at Michael Owen's time at Liverpool in particular very fondly and can forgive him for what happened afterwards. And then there's some people like myself who think he's a prick, quite honestly. If Salah stays at Liverpool for long, he can break the goal record for a high score. He's 27, said LFC Gamer. Did I watch the Ireland match? Yes, Keane, I was at the Ireland match. Myself and Connor were at the match yesterday. We were fortunate enough to get media passes for it, so we were there. We were at the press conference afterwards. Yeah, it was good. It was good. The atmosphere was absolutely brilliant inside the Aviva. Ace Governor said Owen is a traitor. Doug, thank you for the super chat. Doug said Owen tarnished his legacy when he joined United. Yes, that was it for me. The Newcastle thing I can kind of understand. If Newcastle were willing to pay, was it 18 million at the time? I could be wrong. I think it might have been around 18 million. Newcastle were willing to pay money that Liverpool weren't at the time. I got that. I understood that. I didn't hold anything against them for that Newcastle move. The United move was the straw that broke the camel's back, I think, for a lot of Liverpool fans. Gary Richter said Michael Owen didn't even score 20 goals a season. Anybody who says he's better than Fowler, I think, is deluded. Robbie Fowler, as I've always said, is my favourite Liverpool player of all time, so maybe I am a little bit overly biased towards Fowler, but for me, he's better than Michael Owen, hands down. Bernadette Farrell said Owen shot his bolt going to United, lost all respect from then. We Hate Man City said, why would we get rid of Gerrard? He reckoned that we were trying to force him out, mate. He reckoned that the club thought that he had too much power. I think I'm reading between the lines of the small bit that I've read from the article. I didn't read it in depth, so it's probably not fair for me to go all in on him with regard to the Gerrard situation. Michael Owen, who's he? Said James Hardy. He's a Manchester United, Newcastle and England legend, mate. That's who he is. Now, in all honesty, look, he was good at Liverpool. I can't come on here and say different. But that doesn't mean what he did afterwards hasn't hurt and hasn't pissed us off. And people will say, yes, Craig, but Paul Ince joined Liverpool after Manchester United. Fair enough. But I don't like Paul Ince either. So I don't really give a fuck to Paul Ince play for Liverpool or Manchester United. You look like Paul O'Connell. I'd fucking take that. I don't, but I'll take that. Paul O'Connell, an absolute monster. Warrior of a man. Love him. Love Paul O'Connell. LFC 1892 said, I love Torres more. Yeah, Pete Torres was, well, I mean, wow. I mean, straight from the kickoff when Torres came, that goal against Chelsea. Prime Torres, powerful, direct. Yeah, he was something special, mate, I have to say. Owen's the only Liverpool Ballon d'Or winner. Well, give us a while, Cavalier, mate. Give us a while. Big Verge might have something to say about that soon. What have we got? I always remember Brian Moore saying, for those watching in black and white, such a thing playing the red strip. Would you walk on broken glass to have Jurgen Klopp as your manager? Yes, of course I would, mate. Fucking walk on it, dance on it, crawl on it, rub my bald head on it, take me nuts out and bounce me nuts off the broken glass. Anything to keep Klopp at the club. Somebody needs to tell Lingard and Rashford to stay away from Trent. He wants trophies, not new boots. Exactly, stay away from him. Fowler, God, Owen, Judas. Craig Garner, well in, mate. Well in. I mean, that's a comment, buddy. Well done. That is fucking class. Owen is only back as a pundit to support his losing racehorses. Said happily eggs. Did he have a pop at being a jockey as well? Am I imagining that, or did Michael Owen have a go at being a jockey? Ian T said Roy Keane going in on Fergie and John Walters yesterday was much more interested in anything Owen had to say. Actually, believe it or not, I haven't heard the John Walters part. People have told me about it and I must actually look it up. I did hear the part about Ferguson, saying that he believed Ferguson didn't have the best interest of Manchester United, like he said that he did. He said that he employed his son as a chief scout. He employed when Darren Ferguson was manager somewhere, he sent players on loan there, and then when Ferguson got sacked, Darren Ferguson, he pulled the players back, and I think he went as far as to say I'm surprised his wife didn't have a job at the club. Now look, I'll leave that for Manchester United to have their say on, but I like Roy Keane. I like that Roy Keane says what the fuck he wants and doesn't hold back. I like that. I appreciate that, and I'm not saying he's perfect by any stretch, but I do like somebody maybe, of my own mould that speaks their mind. Obviously, I'm not fucking comparing myself to Roy Keane here, but do you know what I mean? I do like people that speak out like that and don't hold back. Adam Whitehead said Fowler was God. He was an instinctive finisher, way better than Owen. Owen isn't worthy to lace Rush or Fowler's boots, said Frisbee Hound. Owen was unreal until injuries done him. Who was that? Said Craig Weston. Karen Weaver, how are you? Owen isn't a legend anywhere. No one loves him. He's created that image himself with his disloyalty. His arrogance about his ability is nauseating. Karen, that is a belter of a comment. Thank you. Well, thank you for the super chat, Karen. Very kind of you. But yes, I'm going to read that out again, Karen, because I tell you what, I like that one. Owen isn't a legend anywhere, except maybe in his own mind, Karen. We'll give him that one. Nobody loves him. He's created that image himself with his disloyalty. His arrogance about his ability is nauseating. I'll tell you what, you guys are on form tonight. I'll give it to you. Your comments are, as I said earlier on, top notch. He probably had to go with jockeying off, considering the state of him at Stoke, said Jack's Page. I'll tell you what, as I said, you people are on form tonight. I love it. Loved what Keno said about Fergie, said Bernadette Farrell. Craig, what do you think about Drifty saying Salah is greedy? He's a Mane fanboy and does the same thing. I haven't seen what Drifty's had to say, LFC Gamer, and I'm not going to speak about what somebody has said if I haven't watched it. It's not fair for me to do that. I like Drifty. Drifty's a really good guy, and I don't want to go on and talk about something that he's spoken about, having not seen it. It just wouldn't be fair of me. And I wouldn't do that to Drifty as well. I wouldn't go behind his back like that. But I can give you my opinion on that situation, which I think is fair. Salah was greedy in the last game on a couple of occasions. I pointed that out a few times. Now, is he greedy all the time? I wouldn't say so. No, I wouldn't say so. I don't think it's as big an issue as it's been made out to be by some people in the media and stuff. But he was greedy on a couple of occasions in the last game. I can't argue about that one. But then again, as I said, I don't know what Drifty said. And Drifty, I like Drifty. Drifty's a good guy. Popeye Doyle said Kenny Dalglish was top dog. You gotta love Kenny. I mean, not getting an argument about Kenny. The Dugout said once a mank, never a red. Once a mank, never a red. Doug, when you're right, mate. When you're right, you're right. LFC Gamer said Salah has 57 goals in 78 Premier League games. How much did Torres have? And Salah is a winger. Yeah. It is mad, isn't it? Because sometimes Salah is described as a winger and sometimes people describe him as a striker. The truth probably lies somewhere in the middle. But as you've said, mate, his goal scoring record is phenomenal. Owen is full of plastic, said James Hardy. Gambling done Owen as well, said Craig Weston. I do know he liked a little flutter, but I don't know if he had any issues with it or anything like that. I mean, it wouldn't be fair for me to say. Maybe it's in his book somewhere, but I tell you what, I won't be fucking reading it to find out. Cavalier said Torres scored 50 goals in 72 games. Owen scored 100 plus goals for Liverpool at 21. If he stayed till 30 and didn't have the injury setbacks, who knows? He could have scored. Fowler only scored 170 in over 10 years. Right, let me try and digest that and come back to you with a reply. Owen was very, very good when he burst through. Nobody's denying that, Tom. And as you said, if he had stayed at Liverpool, who knows where he might have ended up, but he didn't, and therein lies the issue. Robbie Fowler felt like he was being forced out at the time when he left to go. I think it was Leeds he went to at the time before he went on to Man City, if memory serves me correct. But he didn't go and play for Manchester United, mate. And there were, for me, with regards to the club ambassador role in particular, there are people far better for that. Like Daniel Agger out there now. Like, I think, I'd be amazed if anybody disagrees with me that they'd rather have Daniel Agger as a club ambassador than Michael Owen. I mean, it was something that, when it happened, I actually tweeted about it, and that tweet was used in a few articles. I was that angry about it at the time. It just makes no fucking sense to me. It really makes no sense. Farwell said, saying Owen is the best is like the Christmas goose voting for the chef. Goose? Goose? Listen to fucking posh boy. Goose? No fucking turkeys in Farwell's house. It's all goose and foie gras for Dave. I'm only messing with you, mate. What else have we got? Casper was like a great player. He's more of a leg than a legend. Okay, he's an arsehole, John. I think we can agree on that one. A player with Salah's ability and goal scoring record deserves to be greedy now and again, said Frisbee Hound. Yeah, it's one of those situations, mate, isn't it, where if he scores it's alright to be greedy, and if he doesn't, you're going to get pulled up on it. I think that's probably fair. In the game, I don't care that it was 3-0. I've said this before. He made the wrong decisions twice. He should have squared it to Bobby, and he should have squared another one to Sadio Mane. And it's about decision making. And at the top level, you want your players to be making the right decisions. Actually, it's something, again, myself and Connor spoke about last night watching Switzerland playing against Ireland. So many times they got into good positions and the final ball just wasn't clever enough, and we turned around to each other and we're kind of talking about the difference in our front three at Liverpool and that decision making and those small little details that make them as good as they are. So yeah, sometimes it's okay to be selfish. I get that. And I also want to point out what somebody else pointed out to me before, and I'd actually forgotten to bring up. Let's not forget that when Bobby Firmino was on a hat-trick, Mo Salah gave him the ball for the penalty at that time. That's not the act of a selfish person. That's the act of somebody who was putting his teammate ahead of himself. Let's not forget that because of this one game where he was selfish. No denying that. He made the wrong decision twice. But he has shown acts as well to show that he isn't selfish. It's important that we remember this. Plus, he's a fucking Liverpool player. He's a red. Do you know what I mean? We love him. He's Mo. The broken glass thing was what you said from a few months ago. I know. I say it all the time, Alfie. It's a phrase that I use quite often. I think I've said things like, I want players to crawl across broken glass to play for Liverpool. I'd walk across broken glass to have Jurgen Klopp as manager. Yeah, it's one of those things I just say all the time, mate. Have I seen Samuel Chukwueze? He looks insane. Yes, Villarreal player, mate. I have seen him. We were linked with him, actually. I'm not sure, not this window gone. I think maybe last summer we were linked with him, or else it was January. Definitely somebody to keep an eye on. Lots of raw talent, lots of raw pace and power. Definitely a decent player. Yeah, good show. And somebody that I know we are tracking or have tracked. Don't know how seriously we might have an interest in him, but yeah, there is definitely somebody Liverpool have looked at, Jack. Keane was a trader. He walked out in his country when we needed him most. Now, Jim, on the Roy Keane thing, I'm in the other camp on that, mate. The whole thing around Saipan, I get where you're coming from, and I absolutely respect and understand your opinion, mate. Let me put that out there first. Anybody who thinks that Roy Keane put himself ahead of the country or left the country high and dry at that point, I understand your point of view. Here's my point of view. I fully back Roy Keane around certain things. The FAI were a fucking shambles at that point. The players were showing up there and the facilities weren't great. There wasn't enough kit to go around. The training facilities weren't good enough. On the flights over to these places, some of the players were sitting back in economy class while the FAI bigwigs and their families were up in fucking first class. And Roy Keane, let's not forget, Roy Keane came from a culture at Manchester United where the players were looked after. Everything was thoroughly professional. The best facilities, meals were taken, everything was taken care of properly. Always enough kit, always enough stuff to go around. And he wanted that mentality for Ireland. He wanted Ireland to have that professional outlook, that professional mentality. And you can say about whatever you want to say about the way him and Mick McCarthy went head to head. That's one thing. But I will say that I do like the way he stuck up for his players. He said that the Irish players need to be treated more professionally. The FAI need to get their finger out of their asses. And I agree with him fully on that. And I'll always look back at Roy Keane as a legend for Ireland. I always will. Even around the Saipan incident. Of course, who knows what might have happened in that World Cup if Roy Keane had been there. We had a good World Cup anyway. Going out on penalties to Spain was very difficult in a game where Spain were holding on. But as I said, I respect everyone's opinion on that, but for me, I like the way Roy Keane stood up for the lack of professionalism that he perceived from the FAI. Owen never scored over 20 in the league season, said LFC Gamer. Since Owen upped sticks and left, the little rat's opinions are insignificant, said Cobra. Heard Owen blew millions on the GGs, said Craig Weston. I don't know, mate. I honestly don't know if he did or didn't. You hear that story going around about a few players who liked an elf flutter and have lost a few quid. I don't know, maybe it is in one of his books I've never read, any of Michael Owen's books, to be honest, because as I said, I've never really liked them. The Irish team were treated like garbage and Keane fought for the team, said Bernadette Farrell. Jack Spade said it's heavily reported that we're scouting Chukwueze at the moment, that's why I brought it up. I wouldn't be surprised at all, Jack. I mean, it makes sense. We've spoken before about the fact that usually when we are looking at players, we do look at them over a prolonged period of time, mate, so that makes perfect sense. LFC Gamer said, when Mane passed, we were only 1-0 up against Everton. Salah never passed, and we were 3-0 up. Or when Mane never passed, excuse me. I'm not saying Mane hasn't been selfish, LFC Gamer. Mane, I actually raised that very point you're talking about on a previous stream where Mane fucked up and Mane was greedy. No doubt about it, you're right. And all players will do it. All players will do it from time to time. The only reason I think that this one really became a thing was because of Sadio Mane's outburst. If Sadio hadn't said that and it happened in the dressing room afterwards, we probably wouldn't be having this conversation. We'd just be still here celebrating a 3-0 win. Bale or Neymar, who's better and who would I rather at Liverpool? The honest answer here, mate, is I don't like either of them. For various reasons. Neymar is probably the more talented footballer, if I'm being honest about it, and I fucking despise Neymar. And Gareth Bale's too injury prone for me, but I wouldn't want either of them, if I'm bluntly being honest with you. Yeah, I'm sorry, that's my honest answer. Who's better? Probably Neymar, but yeah, I don't know. They're not really. Neither of them do it for me. James Hardy said, I can't believe some fans are sticking up for Owen. He went to Man United, end of. I mean, it is a hard thing to get over, mate. I get you. It's very fucking hard to get over it and say, okay, he went to United, let's forgive and forget. Elijah John 5 said, Giles, Brady, Highway played under the worst conditions for Ireland but never complained. That doesn't make it right, though. I mean, just because they played and they represented the country magnificently, Elijah John 5, just because they played under shit conditions doesn't make it right. And let's not forget, times were very, 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 very different when Giles and Brady and that were playing. Football hadn't gotten to the stage yet of professionalism where it was when Roy Keane came to the fore. But as you said, it is just your opinion, mate, and I respect your opinion. Chukwueze is a Salah replacement. He's left-footed, said Prez Salah. Just because he's left-footed doesn't mean he's a Salah replacement. You can have more than one fucking left-footed attacking player in a team, buddy. I mean, Shaqiri is an example. And why does everyone always have to be a replacement for anybody? Why can't we? We need to add another forward anyway, in my opinion, or another attacking wide player. What's this? Craig, screw Logan Paul versus KSI. It'll be Michael Owen versus whoever he was talking crap to. So I'd probably fucking rather watch Logan Paul versus KSI, and I don't really give a fuck about that one. So that'll tell you how little I care about Michael Owen. Loving the show. Thank you very much. Is it Zenith Gaming? I really appreciate your kind words, mate. Thank you. Salah's worse for being greedy. Sadio's learned his lesson. Don't listen, said Karen Weaver. I mean, I don't think we need to blow it all up into such a big issue. I mean, at the end of the day, I've no doubt that this has all been worked out, that the players are all sound about it, that they had a little chat about it afterwards in the dressing room. And one thing I'm very confident about, and I've said this time and time again, is Jurgen Klopp is not going to allow anything to dislodge the harmony that's within that group. He's not going to allow anybody or anything to break that up. Just got here, what's happened with Owen? Oh, he's released a new book, Byron, mate. He's released a new book. And there's been a few little things come out. Like, he was talking about Liverpool trying to force Gerrard out 2 years before he signed for LA Galaxy. He was talking about his time at Newcastle. He had a bit of a spat with Alan Shearer and all that kind of stuff, mate. It's just basically his book is out and we're having a chat. Craig, did Keane enhance Ireland's chances in the World Cup by walking out? Mate, how do I put this? I cannot argue that with Roy Keane we would have been better with Keane. There's no doubt about that. I can't put up an argument to that. That would be silly of me to do that. But sometimes, mate, you've got to make a stand for what you believe in, whether we think it's right or it's wrong, whatever it is in life. Roy Keane made a stand about what he believed was an injustice, what he believed was mistreatment of him and his teammates, and he wasn't happy that he wasn't backed by some of the other senior pros. I mean, I remember this quite vividly. I remember reading everything I could get about it at the time. And I still, to this day, back Roy Keane over it. But I can't argue that we wouldn't have been better with Roy Keane there. Of course we would have. We would have, yeah, definitely, without a doubt. But at the same time, mate, sometimes you've got to do what you believe in. And Roy Keane's always been somebody who's had the courage of his convictions. And it's one of the reasons why I like him. Shane Coffey said, I feel an outburst like that was needed to happen regarding selfishness with a player, because now, hopefully, they know not to be greedy and pass when somebody's in a better position than them. Yeah, I get you. I agree with 99.99% of what everybody is saying tonight. Sometimes I have to play devil's advocate as well, but I tell you what, as always, you guys are brilliant. This is why I love coming on so much every night and talking to you. I learn stuff. I get to get different people's opinions. We have a bit of fun. We can disagree, but that's alright. We're not always going to agree. Excuse me so much, mate. I'm going to try and pronounce your name. I really do apologise if I get this wrong. Nlaka? I'm so sorry, mate, if I pronounce your name wrong. Said, why do 888 Sport hate Liverpool so much? They don't hate Liverpool. As somebody who does stuff with 888 Sport, videos, and I do some promotions and tweets and stuff with them, they don't. But what the thing is, mate, well, myself and Connor are only talking about this again. When you involve Liverpool in anything, whether it be on social media, whether it be in videos, whatever it might be, you know you're going to get interaction. So maybe going in on Liverpool, they know that those videos are going to get people to watch. They know they're going to get people to interact because Liverpool are such a massive fucking club. And it's a kind of us versus everybody mentality at the minute like that. So they're playing into that, I think, a little bit. They definitely don't hate Liverpool. I promise you that. It's just that Liverpool are one of the... Like, if they were doing the exact same type of things about Manchester City, they wouldn't get the same buy-in because, quite frankly, Manchester City don't have enough fucking fans around the world to make it relevant. So when you have the conversations with Liverpool players, whether it be Winks and Henderson, whether it be why Liverpool hate us so much, which I think was one of the videos that I was a part of when I was doing the shoot with them, it's just because it forces interaction, drives traffic, and Liverpool fans are probably some of the most active fans in social media. So that's the reason behind it, mate. And I would actually look at it as a compliment to Liverpool because our club are so relevant right now and our club are in such a good place that everybody's trying to bring us down. And by everybody, I mean like all sets of other fans. But I can promise you, having worked with them, they don't hate Liverpool. It's just that we're really topical at the minute. Paul Turner said, getting there slowly. Oh, you're talking to somebody else. Don't let me down. Down, 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 down. Down, 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 down. Said Dog Zombies. Down, 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 down. Now that song's gonna be in my head all day, but it's a good song to have in my head, Dog Zombies. Loving all the new shirts, Craig, said Jake. They're not new. I told you, I've got like over 100 football jerseys. I just don't wear a lot of them. I have favourites that I wear all the time. This one, for anybody who's wondering, it is the Columbus Crew shirt. I think it's the Columbus Crew away shirt that I bought again when I was over in Florida a while back. Prime Owen was a Ballon d'Or winner. Fowler hasn't even come close. End of story. No, it's not end of story, mate. Sorry. Owen won the Ballon d'Or. That isn't up for debate. Nobody can say you're right or wrong about that. But it isn't that fucking simple, mate. You ask any Scouser or any Liverpool fan which one of them is the better player, which one of them is the better striker. There's a reason why one of them is called God. So you can't just hold up one award and say, well, he won a Ballon d'Or, that's the end of the conversation. Sorry, mate. It absolutely isn't the end of the fucking conversation. There's a conversation there, alright, but you just saying end of story doesn't quite wash, pal. Sorry. Darren Neal, thank you very much, mate, for the kind words. I really appreciate it, and it's great to have you with us. Jack's delighted that Genie scored. Genie does bits. Do you know what I mean, Jack? Genie does bits. Doesn't matter if it's international level or if it's for the Reds. Genie just does bits. We're used as a scapegoat for 888, said Joanne Fisher. Honestly, as I've said, it's just because we're topical. It's just because they know they're going to get buy-in from Liverpool fans. Man City got no history, said Popeye Doyle. What's this? I'm crocheting a Liverpool king-size blanket for my nephew. Nice one, Bernadette. That's a beautiful thing. I'm sure he's going to cherish that. Lovely. Well in. That's a really nice thing to do. So you're a very good aunt, so well in. Anfield's capacity is still too small for such a massive club. We're working on it, Cavalier, mate. We're working on it. As you said before, we know that the planning permission for the Anfield Road end is up this month, and the club are going to let that lapse because they're looking at plans to make it bigger. So yeah, they are working on it as things stand. Now, obviously, if I hear any news on those new plans for the Annie Road end, I will, of course, let you guys know as soon as I hear anything. And vice versa. If you guys get at it before me, please let me know. Okay, what else have we got? Craig, check your Twitter inbox. I will after the stream, Kev, mate. Can't really do it now. Did anyone see Genie's goal? I haven't seen it yet, Karen, because it was just after I came on stream. Genie's capable of scoring 10 plus goals this season for us. Why does he not play like that for us? Well, he does what he's told to do by the manager, mate, if you get where I'm coming from. He plays, and he does score some important goals for us, but he plays in sometimes the way we have to play at Liverpool at times. He's a bit more restricted in what he can do. He has a bit more defensive responsibilities at times. But he's a great player, and he's a good utility player that can play in so many positions. Scotty said, Fowler by far is God. Exactly. Brian said, I met Paul McGrath once, painfully shy, didn't want to be in the situation he was in, and he looked totally wiped out. He was playing a charity round of golf with a bunch of twats. Paul McGrath is, as Brian has said, a very humble, very shy man. If I was to ever recommend somebody to read a footballer's biography or autobiography, Paul McGrath's would be one I'd recommend so highly. It is, it's a very good read. It's a very hard read at times. There's no secret that Paul McGrath battled his demons for many years, but yeah, it's a very, very good book. Hey Craig, if you think Owen was true, would you have taken Shearer? Yeah, so what Darren's getting at, that what some people watching the stream might know, is that part of what Michael Owen said in his book is that Liverpool were apparently close, or very close, to signing Alan Shearer at one point. Yes, of course he'd have taken Shearer, mate, at Liverpool. I mean, Alan Shearer's record speaks for itself. He was hard as nails. He knew where the goal was. He was a little bit dirty at times, and I like a bit of snidiness in a player. I don't like him as a pundit one bit. I actually can't stand listening to his voice, but I cannot begrudge the man and his career that he had as a footballer. He was an exceptional centre forward. And David Newell said Fowler all day long. Gareth Bale rescued a point for Wales tonight. A point just? Surely it was the points, no? Yeah, Wales won 2-1. It was the points, mate. They were yeah, so it was 1-1 at one point. But yeah, Gareth Bale scored the winner. Noel Murphy said, why ask any Scouser or Liverpool fans? Surely it should be any football fan. No, Liverpool fans are bitter on Owen. I suppose you have a valid point. You have a valid point, mate. I suppose because we're Liverpool fans on here, we're very Liverpool centric in the way we look at things. But yeah, it's a fair point, Noel. And sometimes you have to step outside this little Liverpool bubble, mate. And you're right. It should be a conversation for all fans to have. I suppose the majority of the people I talk with about these things will be Liverpool fans, though. Yeah, it's a fair point. And if there are any neutrals in the chat, let yourself be known that you are a neutral or a non-Liverpool fan, and let me know, or let us know who you think is better. And Niall, thank you for raising that point. Scousers love Fowler. Others seem to love Dippy Owen, said Karen Weaver. Fowler's a legend, owned the leg end, said James Hardy. You could say bell end, mate. We'll go with that one as well. Kevin Phillips is the only Englishman who's won the Golden Boot. Is he the greatest English striker? Hasn't Harry Kane won the Golden Boot? Looks, I'm 99.99999% sure Harry Kane's won a Golden Boot. God is better than Owen, hands down, said Liam Granby. Ricky Lambert was better than Owen. Now relax, bastard. Relax, mate. I mean, there's jokes and all, but relax. Genie just casually does bits versus Barcelona. Now, let me remind you back to the year before against Roma away as well. Genie knows where the goal is. We all know Heskey is the greatest Liverpool set boy. Do you know what, though? I think a lot of people underestimate how good Emile Heskey was at times. Emile Heskey was pretty fucking good. Do you know what I mean? I think Emile Heskey's underrated by a lot of people. Dog Zombie said Paul McGrath just needs to learn to be socially cocky like myself. Yeah, his background and his story is actually a very inspirational one, Paul McGrath, and he grew up very, very close to where I'm from and played with clubs, Dalkey United, Pearse Rovers, in and around the area where I grew up in. He's my favourite Irish player of all time, Paul McGrath. That performance against the Italians in USA 94, he was like a one-man wall. The Italians couldn't equalise. When we went 1-0 up, there was nothing they could do. McGrath was everywhere. He was like a wall. Adam Farnan said, people say City don't have history, but what they're doing is creating history. Again, Adam, mate, yes, they are creating history, you're right. In 10, 15 years time, people will look back at that cheating bunch of bastards and say, yes, that cheating bunch of bastards won an awful lot of trophies. They will, and they will have created history. They might also create history, be the first English club to be fucked out of the Champions League for breaking FFP rules. Perhaps. I'm just having jokes, mate. You are right. What they are doing is creating history. And in the future, they'll look back and say they had trebles, they won leagues, and nobody can argue with that. They still won't have any fucking fans, though, and they still won't be able to fill their little stadium. Well, I say little. They still won't be able to fill their stadium. And we'll still be sitting here cracking jokes, but I do respect what you're saying, Adam, and I'm only taking the piss. Shane Coffey said, I don't know why, but every time I hear the name Fowler, it reminds me of that celebration, correct me if I'm wrong, against Arsenal. That celebration, or which one are we talking about? The one where he went down sniffing the white line was obviously my favourite one. Okay, where was the comment about Wenger? Sorry, I'm just scrolling back up. Somebody had a comment about Arsene Wenger there. Why is it I can never find my fucking way in the chat when I lose the comments? I'm so sorry to whoever that comment was about Wenger, but I just can't fucking find it at the minute. Yep, sorry, my bad. Liam said, Craig, who's your favourite Irish player of all time? Play for the international team? McGrath. It definitely is Paul McGrath, mate, for me. Alan Shearer was class, said the Revanite. Shearer was the complete player, said Elijah John 5. Dave said, I had a great chat one night with Paul McGrath, ended up talking about Michael Jackson. Of course you did, mate. Of course you ended up talking about Michael Jackson. Karen Weaver said Alan Shearer was really good. Did Owen say bad stuff about Liverpool? Sort of, yeah. He was saying about that we were trying to force Steven Gerrard out of the club 2 years before he went, and I don't know what else he said, Yasser, because I haven't read his book. City are meant to buy Sancho for 78 million. That seems far too cheap, Adam, to buy Sancho. Yeah, but look, I guess we're going to have to wait and see what happens. Be very happy to never see Owen or Shearer on TV again, said Lux. Owen did say in an interview he wanted to come back, but still should never have gone to Manchester United. Yeah, there was a piece he did a while back on BT, where he did speak very candidly and very openly about a lot of stuff. I can't remember exactly when it was, but I remember looking at it thinking, do you know what, of all the things I've ever seen with Michael on, that wasn't too bad. Alan Shearer was a straight killer. He raised his hand more times than I did all the way through school today in Andrews. Good comment, that, mate. That was his celebration was so simple, wasn't it? Adam Farnan said, City fan but love the channel. Thank you very much, mate. Appreciate that. That's very kind of you. And again, anything I say, Adam, mate, it's just taking the piss. There's no hatred in here, buddy. You're very welcome in. The Reverend said, yes, Harry Kane did win the Golden Boot. PDK said, yes, Harry Kane's won the Golden Boot. Do you think any player at Liverpool can become as good as Steven Gerrard? It's a very difficult question, and I suppose there's two ways to answer that question, Bassett. Will anybody ever go down as much of a club legend as Steven Gerrard? And I would say that the answer to that is most likely no. Can any player go on to be as good a player as Steven Gerrard? Yes. Van Dijk's doing bits at the moment. Van Dijk could win the Ballon d'Or. Yeah, it could well be, but I don't think anybody will ever go on to hold as much esteem with Liverpool fans as Steven Gerrard. Again, just my opinion. If Owen wanted to go back to Liverpool, he shouldn't have joined Man United, said Darren Neal. Does Dejan Lovren start the next game for Liverpool? No, Chad, I would say. A bit of Jared and Shaqiri in the mix. Looking forward to seeing Adam Lallana in that role, filling in for Bobby. I don't think we're going to see too many changes. I would have thought that the players who are away on international duty were probably going to be moved around a little bit, but I was reading a few articles during the week that seems to suggest that Klopp probably won't make many changes for the Newcastle game, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. With regards to Lovren starting, I doubt it. I very much doubt it, because Matip won't be away in international duty, so we won't have to worry about that. Van Dijk, he's going to start anyway, isn't he? Because he's Virgil van Dijk. Sorry, again, some more of your comments. I don't like when some scousers dismiss Liverpool fans that aren't from Liverpool. I find it insulting. As I said many times, fans aren't from Liverpool just as passionate as scousers. Look, I'm Irish, mate. I'm with you. You don't have to convince me in this argument. And to be fair, there's very few people that really hold that belief that you should only support Liverpool if you're from Liverpool. There's very few people I've ever met. And generally I should say, this type of shit only seems to come up when there's issues around tickets and stuff like that. And the shortage of tickets and the fact that you could sell Anfield probably 3 or 4 times over has led to this situation where on occasion fans turn on each other, and local fans and overseas fans or fans from other parts of the country tend to have these clashes on social media. And it's just out of frustration. I don't think anybody ever means to be that xenophobic or that much of an asshole about things. I think it's just frustration a lot of the times, whether it be about tickets or jerseys or whatever it might be. There's just not enough of everything to go around, and that forces people who grew up in the city feeling like, hey, this is my city. I should be able to get tickets. I should be able to go to every game. And they look sometimes at people from overseas and go, these fuckers coming in, paying overly inflated prices for the tickets, paying travel agents fees and stuff like that. Again, but then I look at the other side of the coin, and I'll give an example now. Of course, we're going over to Florida next week to meet with Tallahassee, to meet with Jacksonville, to meet with Tampa Bay and the supporters clubs there. And I know firsthand the amount of effort that those guys go through to watch Liverpool playing. Sometimes getting up at 5-6 o'clock in the morning to drive to their local supporters club at breakfast time. The Newcastle game being a prime example. That's going to be a 7:30am kickoff in Florida, probably earlier in other parts of America. And people are going to be getting up really early to go and watch their club and drive maybe an hour to that bar or the restaurant or whatever it is that they meet up with the supporters clubs. And nobody can tell you that that's not dedication. Nobody can tell you that Liverpool Football Club doesn't mean as much to those people as it does to me or you or anybody from the city of Liverpool. Nobody ever has a right to say that to anybody. We all fall in love with football clubs for different reasons and in different situations. But we all love the club. We all make sacrifices for the club, whether that be financial sacrifices to travel to games, to buy kits for our families, for our friends, to buy memberships, whatever it might be. And I prefer to look at this when I see the situations like here. I'll use Anfield agenda as a prime example. I'm not from Liverpool, but people are still happy to come on here and hear my views and have a chat around Liverpool with other people from around the world. And the channel continues to grow. And there's never been any bitterness towards each other about who's from here or who's from there. The Scousers that we have in the chat have been nothing but fucking brilliant. Nothing but really, really, really lovely people. And the overseas fans from Australia, Malaysia, America, Canada, wherever it might be. We all come together in here. We talk about the club that we love. We take the piss. We have a laugh. But yeah, as I said, just to circle back around, I think it's just out of frustration at the lack of tickets and the lack of availability and stuff. Once a Mank, no, I read that one already from Doug, sorry, I thought that was a different one. Owen was injury prone to James Hardy. What else have we got? But City are creating history the wrong way, said Jack. Have I ever visited Anfield? Yes. Sorry, I was thinking of how I was going to answer the question, mate. Yes, I've been to Anfield over 50 times, mate. Usually, until last year, I went 5 or 6 times a year. But it's getting more and more difficult, like we were just talking about, to get tickets. But yes, mate, I've been to Anfield plenty. Love the LFC video that shows fans from all over the world celebrating the Champions League, said Lux. It is absolutely magnificent. Whoever put that together, and I can't remember who it was a thing of beauty. To see what the club meant to so many fans around the world and see them all together celebrating and watching the final, it was fucking class, mate. Absolutely class. Ladies and gents, if you are enjoying tonight's stream and you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please do hit that button. And if you have subscribed, please give us a thumbs up on the video and remember to turn on notifications. Because, you know, with it being the international break, I might just be bored someday and jump on and go live at any time. So, again, with us going to Florida and that next week, our schedules will be a little bit more fucked up. So make sure you've got those notifications turned on, because myself and Mr. Crosby can be uploading videos at any time. Yeah, and when we meet the good folk of Tampa Bay and Jacksonville and Tallahassee, you know, if the Wi-Fi is good enough, we might just go live on the spot as well. Who'll win the Premier League title this season? Asked Eugene McGeever. I'm going to say Liverpool, mate. A lot of that obviously is hope, but it's going to be between Liverpool and Manchester City by the looks of it. Seahawk said, I'm from Liverpool and I'm so proud when I hear fans from out the city support this great club. Wherever you're from, Liverpool, you're part of the family. Well in, mate, and beautifully put. And that's the attitude that I've come across from 99.99% of Scousers, mate. There was only one time, and I've spoken about this before, where I ever heard anything that was derogatory towards overseas fans. I was walking back after we'd beaten Everton 4-0. It was the game that Lukaku actually did his ACL. So we were walking back to Stanley Park to get onto our coach, and I remember having a conversation with my mate, and obviously both of us being Irish. I heard somebody behind us saying, I couldn't tell you if they were an Everton fan or a Liverpool fan because I didn't turn around, but they just said, fucking typical, locals can't go to the game because we're being priced out by day trippers. That's the only time I've ever heard anything. Other than that, I've had nothing but love and welcome and being welcomed from everybody in the wonderful city. And let's face it, Scousers and Irish were pretty much the same fucking thing. Do you know what I mean? I mean, look at the names. Carragher, do you know what I mean? Rooney. They all come from one place in fucking Ireland. Obviously, I don't mean Jamie Carragher and Wayne Rooney. I'm talking about their names. Craig, will you be doing live streams in Florida? It depends, Scotty. We'll be putting up content. Some of it will be pre-recorded. It depends on the internet connections about where we are. If it's good enough, then yeah, we'll do some live streams, but it will vary. Is Bobby better than prime Dirk Kuyt? Yes, I would say without a doubt. And I love Dirk Kuyt, but I mean Bobby for me is another level. Like he's like Dirk Kuyt on steroids. But I love Dirk Kuyt. Craig, Spurs player Son, do you rate him? Yes, very much so, John. Really rate Son. I've often said that if I could pick a player from Spurs to drop into this Liverpool team, Son would be the one that I choose. I just think his work ethic, his style of play, his unpredictability, all those things I think would endear him to Liverpool fans, and would fit very well in our system. Okay, let me just check. I haven't even looked through my notes yet. So when we were talking about Michael Owen's book, there's one thing I forgot to mention. Newcastle-based bookseller The Back Page, which describes itself as the largest stockist of sports books in the world, have said that Reboot, Michael Owen's book, is the first book we've ever totally refused to stock. So what they describe as the biggest stockist of sports books in the world have a shop in Newcastle have said basically Michael Owen can stick his fucking book up his ass. We ain't stocking it. The exact quote is that the Reboot is the first book we've ever totally refused to stock. So not much love there from that particular part of Newcastle for Michael Owen. I want to get on to Messi, actually. There's something about Lionel Messi I want to talk about in a few minutes. But interestingly, something came up today which I thought was very good. I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen this as well. So Liverpool's squad has been valued as the fourth most expensive in world football, with the Red squad falling just short of the £1 billion mark, being valued at £959 million. Now, this is conducted by OddsMonkey, research conducted by OddsMonkey. They're not saying this is what Liverpool have spent on their squad, they're saying this is what their squad is now valued at. So in first place, Manchester City have what they believe to be the most valuable squad in world football. £1.14 billion is the Manchester City's value. Second place is Real Madrid at just over the £1 billion mark. Third place, Barcelona, again just a little bit behind Real Madrid. I think they're only 10 million short. Liverpool in fourth place at 959 million, and in fifth place is PSG with a squad value of 888.75 million pound. Now, if you consider that they have the world's most expensive player and that they have Kylian Mbappe there as well, Liverpool's squad to be valued more, I mean, it just goes to show how far we've come and how good the investment has been and how good Michael Edwards, Hunter Fallows, the rest of the scouting team have been in their business, that Liverpool's squad is valued at almost £1 billion, ladies and gents. It just goes to show the club are in a good place right now and people are getting paid to do their jobs and they're doing them very fucking well indeed. What else have we got? Did I get the link you sent you for the vote on Bobby? No, I can't say I've seen it, Scotty. Craig, what's this, Craig? I've seen that we were higher than 900 million squad worth. Yeah, 959 million, mate. 959 million. It's tremendous, isn't it? It just goes to show what good investment Liverpool Football Club have put in. What else is there? Too many dodgy penalties and offside goals for City last season. We should have won the league by 15 points, said John Snuff. Lee said there's a possibility all Irish came from England, all English came from Europe, and all Europeans came from Africa, mate. I'm not even getting into that. That's just mind-blowing stuff. Neymar and Mbappe are 600 million together, said Prez Salah. Well, no, they're not really, to be fair, because they couldn't get 200 million for Neymar this summer, and there's no way Mbappe is going to be 400 million, as much as I love the guy. I'd say that the figure for those guys are closer to about 450 at a push, perhaps. But then again, maybe you have the actual figures, buddy, and I'm completely wrong on this. Maybe you've gone into Transfermarkt or OddsMonkey and checked out the numbers. Colin Douglas said Robbo's really poor tonight, but then he had Charlie Mulgrew defending behind him when not Virgil van Dijk. Give the scouting team a knighthood, said Darren Neal. Ella, how are you, my friend? Welcome in. Craig, Irish biggest club, Bohemians' 129th birthday. Congratulations to Bows. I know you're a massive Bows fan, Ella. When's the no swearing stream? That should be very interesting. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to take a bit of building up and a bit of preparation, Divock. I'm not going to lie, mate. I'm going to have to just keep going through and saying to myself over and over again, don't swear, don't swear, don't swear, don't swear. And I probably still will end up swearing. I think on that stream, if I swear, I should probably have to make a donation to charity or something like that, if I can't get through that one stream without swearing. Our owners don't get enough credit, said John. I think they're starting to, John. They've done so many fucking good things, mate, haven't they? They really have. We could list them all off: main stand, training ground, improvements around Anfield, squad depth for Jurgen Klopp, decent wages for the players, commercial partnerships, endorsements, manufacturer of kit deals. So much, just so much, mate. We could keep going on about it, but you're right. I think they're starting to get that credit now, though. Michael Owen's my dad, said RGB. Shit one, mate. It's obviously not true, but shit one. Jurgen Klopp better than Michael Owen, said Casper. Do I honestly think except City that any other team can beat us this season? In a one-off game, Craig? Yeah, anyone can beat us, mate. Premier League's a very competitive league. I don't think anybody will finish ahead of us other than, as you said, Manchester City or ourselves. But after that, I don't think anybody will get within 10 points of Liverpool and Manchester City. But yeah, anybody can beat us. I mean, it's a competitive league. On the day, anyone can lose a game. You can do it, Craig, said Karen Weaver. I probably can, because I've gone on other people's podcasts before and not sworn. So I probably can. It's just I'm extra relaxed when I'm on here, and when I'm relaxed and I let my guard down, I just say whatever comes out of my mouth. Just as a reminder, actually, if you guys are on social media, and if you're on Twitter in particular, we're just about to launch our new Twitter account. We have, obviously, the Anfield Agenda main Twitter account, but we're launching a clips account where we're going to put up the best, the worst, the funniest, the most stupid Anfield Agenda video clips that we filmed in our 20 months or so being on here, as well as me going to do little short live videos on there as well. So I'm going to go live on that account, do 2-3 minute long videos about specific subjects. So if you want to give that account a follow, and I don't know if Connor's still in the chat there, if he is, you can put in the name. It's really simple. It's at AA Clips. So just the letter A, and then Clips, all one word, at AA Clips. That's the new Anfield Agenda Clips account on Twitter. And that will be probably live within the next week or so. So keep an eye out for that one if you're on Twitter. And obviously give the main account a follow at Anfield Agenda as well if you're on there. If you ever want to get in touch with me on social media, Twitter is the best place to do it because I'm a Twitter junkie pretty much. There's nothing wrong with swearing, said Ben. No, there isn't, mate. No, it's just, it came up one night as a conversational topic when we said, let's see if maybe I can do one stream without swearing. Maybe I think it was because of young Sinead. Dave's daughter who doesn't like when I swear, although she's getting used to it. I think I said maybe I'll try and do one for Sinead where I didn't swear. Colin Douglas said, can't believe Clark didn't play Ryan Christie from the start. He's been on fire for Celtic this season. Anybody else up for an invincible season, said John. Oh man, I can't even bring myself to think about it, I'm not going to lie. I just want to win the league. I would rather we won the league than had an invincible season. Now, if we did both, I mean, get the tissues out, you know what I'm saying? Swearing is liberating, said Karen. I like that, liberating. Past 9pm watershed, swear away, said Yasser. Kyo's Crisps, said Brian Morrissey. That's just porn, mate. Now we're just talking porn on streams. Yes, Kyo's Crisps. I have Kyo's Crisps ready to bring over to Florida at the Far Isle. Little care package of Irish tea, Kyo's Crisps and shortbread ready to bring over to Dave. This team will be unstoppable this season, said Popeye Doyle. I love your name, mate, Popeye Doyle. It's just like that perfect mixture of Ireland and a deadly nickname, so well in on that one. Craig is the Keno of YouTube. Fire him or attack him and the gloves are off, said Tom Boland. Oh, Tom, sorry. I need to do something there. Brian, it was this, wasn't it? Sorry. Yes, my bad. I think I have the right one there, Brian. Yes, it was Tom Boland you were looking at me to sort out, Brian. Is that correct? Give me a thumbs up. Craig, increase your vocabulary. Learn to swear. Yeah, I used to think that people like myself who swear a lot just aren't articulate enough to express themselves. But then I read a study before that said the people that swear are actually prone to being more truthful. So there you go. Honest Craig. I'm an honest cunt. What can I say? Paul Dunning, I'm very well, thank you, mate. Great to see you back in. I hope life's treating you well. Can you only get Kyo's Crisps in Ireland? No, I think I know some people in the UK have been able to get them, Divock, and they certainly sell them on Amazon, although being quite frank about it, they're very expensive on Amazon. But I know some people have said they've seen them in Sainsbury's, some people have seen them in Tesco in the UK. And I actually at Kyo's Crisps today on Twitter saying, look, motherfuckers, I didn't say the motherfuckers part, but I said, look, guys, I'm bringing a care package over to Florida. I'm bigging your crisps up everywhere. I mean, look after me. Do you know what I mean? Show me some love. Send me one free bag of Kyo's or something. I fucking love them crisps. Is this the best Liverpool team of all time? It's a very difficult one to say, and the answer is probably no, because they haven't won what other Liverpool teams have won ahead before them. So I would have to err on the side of no. Of my lifetime watching the football club, it's got to be up there, definitely. Do you know what I'd probably say it is in my lifetime? But, you know, this teams of the 70s and the 80s, they won an awful lot of stuff, mate. So, yeah, you got to measure this stuff in trophies, I suppose. Radical Gambino, again, one of my favourite names, said, I'd love to watch a football fan channel with my 3 and 2 year old, but I don't want them swearing at 3 and 2. Yeah, I get you. I get you. See, how do I put this? For me, when it comes to swearing, I've no problem with kids swearing. And I'm going to explain to you why. It's language. The most important thing about language, however it's used, is the context of how it's used. So, I would rather my kid said the word fuck than went outside and told another kid that they hate them, or that they were poor, or that they, you know, something mean along those lines. No, I don't want, you know, your kids shouldn't be swearing, don't get me wrong, but for me with language, everything is about context, and it's about the way in which you use the language. So, as I said before, I can use language, bad language I mean, to compliment people, and yes, it's context. I think context in any language, whether it's cursing or not, is just really, really important. I have Aldi crisps in, said Lee. I mean, mate, don't knock Aldi. Aldi and Lidl do some decent grub. Popeye Doyle's a character from French Connection. Cracking film. I did not know that. There you go. Thank you very much. I'm learning something again today. Thank you, Seahog, for that one. Blue said, the last season, the start of this season looks like how the 87, 88, 89 team were. So pretty damn good, Blue. Pretty damn good. Press Salah said, I think this is the best Liverpool team let me start that again. I think this is the best Liverpool ever. We have a complete front three, best defender in the world, best goalkeeper, best fullbacks, and best defensive midfielder. Yeah, mate, but other Liverpool teams were just winning trophies for fun. In a time as well where the European Cup was knockout and there was none of this group stage stuff. So, I mean, it's very easy for us, and rightly, we should be looking at this Liverpool team and praising them to the high heavens, but you've got to give respect to the past as well and to what came before, because there were some absolute legends that lifted trophies for this football club, and we got to show those guys respect as well. It's difficult. It's always very hard to compare eras when it comes to any sport, whether it be boxing, football, whatever it is. It's really difficult to compare different generations. You can say truly awful things without swearing, said Lux. Exactly, mate. Again, comes back to context. Bernadette Farrell said, they have an Irish language. No, not an Irish language. I mean, I don't know where I got that from, Bernadette. Sorry. They have an Irish section in large Asda's, and you can get Barry's tea, Boland's biscuits, Cadbury's Tiffin, Tato crisps, and red lemonade. I mean, you're just naming off the what's what of Irish stuff there, Bernadette. Yeah, that is a who's who of Irish quality products. They need to introduce Kyo's in there though. Is it true that Liverpool were the Club World Cup, or were in the Club World Cup in 2005 and lost the final? Yes, they did. It was in Tokyo, I believe, if my memory's correct. And there's actually a really interesting story about Jamie Carragher, Didi Hamann, and running away from the police. I'll let you Google that and look at it yourselves. But yes, we were, and we did lose it. You're right. Although, yeah, it would have been at the end. It would have been in December, I think, of 2005. But we didn't win it. We never won the Club World Cup. Loving the streams, mate, said Jesus. Thank you so much, mate. Really appreciate that. Thank you to everyone that has anything kind to say. Thank you, and to everyone that has anything negative to say. Well, you know what I'm going to say, don't you? You know the words nuts, suck, and you can put the rest together. Yassar said, this team is breaking and setting club records. Must be up there as the best Reds team. Yes, but we can't win them all because of Manchester City's dominance. Well, that's the thing, mate. Back in the day, we were the dominant force. That's the kind of the point I was getting at, Prez. Now, as I said, it's very difficult to compare generations. And you are right. This Liverpool team is sensational, mate. We are blessed, as you said, with probably the best front three in the world, or the best front three unit in the world, I would say. Maybe individually you could talk about Messi, Ronaldo and stuff, of course. Best centre-back, one of the best goalkeepers, if not the best goalkeeper. Fabinho in midfield, settling into one of the best defensive mids around. Great fullbacks, as you've said. It's very hard to pick any holes in this Liverpool squad. Bradley McIntosh said, hi Craig, sorry I'm late for the stream. Can you tell me a bit more about Michael Owen and the Alan Shearer crap? Alan Shearer didn't think Michael Owen tried enough and cared enough when he was at when he was at Newcastle, and I think I can't speak for Alan Shearer, but what's going around seems to be that he believes that Michael Owen played a big part in Newcastle getting relegated that year, and that he didn't think that he tried or cared hard enough about the club, and that he was already thinking 3 or 4 months ahead about his next move away from Newcastle. And also Michael Owen didn't speak too fondly about the city of Newcastle and that in his book apparently. Craig, have you seen Breaking Bad? There's a movie coming out. Oh yes, I have, mate. I was actually, will I say lucky enough? Right, it was one of those situations where I was late to the party. So by the time I got to watch Breaking Bad, the last season was just getting started. So I got to binge watch it all and then watch it right through to the end. So it was one of those beautiful things in life. A similar thing happened to me with God, what's that other show called? Sons of Anarchy. Yeah, similar thing with Sons of Anarchy. I didn't hear about Sons of Anarchy till it was coming to an end, and then I watched it all the way through, and I will definitely be watching the film that's coming out, mate, 100%. Rory, thank you so much, mate, for the kind words. Craig, can you recap the story of Judas? I just did. Kate, I hope you caught up, mate. I hope you got where I was coming from there. Basically, he's got a book out. He said Liverpool were trying to sell Gerrard a couple of years beforehand and push him out the door. They thought he had too much influence at the club. Obviously, you know the stuff about Alan Shearer. I spoke about that as well. And just a few other bits about why he didn't come back to Liverpool and why he left to go to Real Madrid and stuff like that. You've never seen The Sopranos, LFC gamer? Wow, mate, you got to watch it. You got to watch The Sopranos. You got to watch The Wire. Yeah, some pretty good TV shows out there. John Hamilton said, hit like, subscribe and share. I like that, mate. Well in. And don't forget to turn on notifications. Donuts from Lidl are 19p. Jam donuts, chocolate donuts, that's a bargain, said Press Salah. Mate, I gotta say, I fuck with Lidl quite a bit. I do. I go down there, mate. I get my toffee yum yums, although I think they're called something different than Lidl. I get my apple, what are they called down there? They're not called apple danishes, they're called fucking apple lattices or apple turnovers or whatever they're called. I get you. I like Lidl, mate. Little bakery. You can't argue with it. The prices are just ridiculously cheap. Better Call Saul is good too, said Juan. It's a good show. I love Malcolm in the Middle. It was quite funny. Brick. I like Brick. I like when he talks like this. Yeah, I do like Brick. Imagine if we'd have primed Gerrard in this team, said Ashley Young. We'd definitely be winning trophies for fun. Yes, imagine, as I've said this before, mate, imagine Gerrard just in behind that front three and in front of the two in midfield, just pinging balls through. It would be just porn. Craig, am I familiar with an Irish show called Love Hate? Oh, Greg, I was a massive Love Hate fan. Probably one of the best pieces of television that RTE have ever produced. And I know Liverpool players actually watched that on the coach at one point, or some of them. I remember seeing an interview with some of them talking about it before. Yeah, Love Hate. If anybody has never seen that TV show, it's an Irish show about gangsters in Ireland, and it is fucking class. And I mean class. Not class from an Irish level, just class. Nidge. Poor old Nidgy. Yeah, Love Hate. Brilliant show. Should VVD win the Ballon d'Or? 100% Morad. 100% he should win the Ballon d'Or. That's my honest opinion on it. John Peacock said, hi, I'm new here. Seems like you made a childish view on Owen, as he's a Liverpool legend and scored many goals. He only went to United to prolong his career and deeply regrets it. Okay, firstly, mate, my job is to bring people into the channel. So my job is to put up thumbnails and to put up titles to get people to interact and get people to start a conversation. So firstly, John, I hope you understand that, mate. If you've been in and you've heard us speaking tonight, there's been people on both sides of the argument, John. There's been people like myself who just don't like Michael Owen for varying reasons. And there's been people who do like Michael Owen. And to say I've made a childish view, it's my view. And if you don't like it, John, you can kiss my fucking ass. If you do like it, great. But you're entitled to your view, mate, and I'm entitled to mine. You can call me childish or say the view is childish if you want. But at the end of the day, mate, it is my view. And I will give my 2 pence worth, same way you've given yours. Best Liverpool team of the modern era, but imagine this team with a prime Stevie G. We've done that one. Peter Van der Shan said, got addicted to Black Mirror. I've never seen it, mate. I've never watched Black Mirror. Connor said Breaking Bad is the greatest of all time. Wash your fucking mouth out with soap, Mr. Crosby. Only Fools and Horses is the greatest television show of all time, bar none. But Breaking Bad is pretty damn good. Okay, what else we got? Where can you watch The Sopranos? I know it's on Sky box sets. If anybody's got Sky, it's on their box sets. Okay. Someone says, oh, there. John Mack said, my wife won't take me to Lidl because I keep singing Come On People by Pop. You're a mad fucker, mate. I like it. Common People. Oh, John, you're a bad, bad man. And I mean that in the nicest possible way. Is the GOAT a good thing? It means the greatest of all time, Christine. GOAT means greatest of all time. Nidge is an absolute legend. Yeah, that TV show is class. Have I ever watched My Name is Earl? Yes, a very good show. My Name is Earl. I did like this. Yeah, so many good shows. And that, yeah, I mean, we could get nostalgic and talk about TV shows for a long time. But yeah, My Name is Earl was very funny. Did they bring a second series out of Love Hate? Oh yeah, there's been, I think, 4 or 5 seasons of Love Hate, Bernadette. I mean, let me check, but there's been quite a few. I'll tell you exactly how many now. Season 4, yeah. There's definitely been 4 seasons of it anyway. Who's your favourite ever non-Liverpool players? God, you're gonna fucking hate me for saying this. I probably shouldn't even answer this honestly on the stream. I loved Eric Cantona. I love how fucking arrogant he was. Yeah, I loved Eric Cantona. I loved Ronaldinho, like you've said. I love Jean-Pierre Papin, who was one of my favourite players, played for Marseille back in the day. And Peter van der Schaans mentioned somebody earlier on, which like injury ended his career early, but Marco van Basten was just sensational, absolutely sensational. As a goalkeeper, one of my heroes growing up was Zubizarreta, Barcelona. One of the first goalkeepers I ever remember really looking at and just going, wow, Antonio Zubizarreta. Yeah, they're some of my favourite players. And obviously from an Irish perspective, as I said before, Paul McGrath, favourite Irish player. If you've ever seen League of Gentlemen, I don't like that. Or is it one? I didn't like that show. What about the sitcom Becker? Oh, I didn't like it, Tom. There was some funny moments in it, but yeah, it just wasn't Cheers, if you get where I'm coming from. Mr. A said Cantona was class, to be fair. Yeah, I loved his arrogance. I just loved it. I'm a massive fan of people having a big set of cojones on them and just not giving a fuck. The Chappelle box set. Oh, Gary, I spoke to you guys the other night about the latest Dave Chappelle stand-up that's on Netflix called Sticks and Stones. If you haven't watched it, watch it. It deals perfectly with the celebrity hunting culture of this day and age, and of stuff you can and can't say. Dave Chappelle is just one of the greatest political commentators, one of the greatest human beings, and definitely one of the greatest, if not the one of the greatest stand-ups of all time. I mean, yeah, there's so many before him. Kinnison, Richard Pryor, Bill Hicks, and then in modern day Chris Rock, early Chris Rock. But yeah, Dave Chappelle, you gotta love Dave Chappelle. Del Piero was underrated. Del Piero was sensational, mate. Anyone see Cantona's speech? Yeah, I wonder, with that Cantona speech, I wonder, is he just starting to become a bit of a parody of himself at times with the way he says these things? Line of Duty is a TV show a lot of people have told me to watch, and I haven't got around to watching yet, actually, so I must do that. Right, let me get back to football for a second. So Jurgen Klopp has been nominated for the first Barclays Manager of the Month award of the season. He's nominated alongside Pep Guardiola, Roy Hodgson and Brendan Rodgers, so best of luck to Kloppo for that one as well. And while we're on the subject of awards, Bobby Firmino has also been nominated for the Player of the Month award, and he's going to be up against Sergio Aguero, Ashley Barnes, Kevin De Bruyne, Timo Pukki and Raheem Sterling. So again, congratulations to everybody there that was nominated for the Player and Manager of the Month awards. You got to say Klopp will probably win the Manager of the Month award. I mean, Liverpool perfect in the Premier League, the only perfect team still in the Premier League, so you'd imagine he's got to win that award. Player of the Month award, who do you guys think for Player of the Month? I mean, there's a good argument for Raheem Sterling there. He had a very good start to the season. De Bruyne as well has been on fire. Timo Pukki banging in, and Ashley Barnes. It's a very difficult one to choose, that actually, the Player of the Month. Who's your genuine choice? Let's put aside the bias. Who's your choice? Do I love Ibra's arrogance? No, I think Ibrahimovic is a prick, if I'm being honest, Andre. It's mad that you can take to some players and not to others, isn't it? And I understand why people would like Ibrahimovic. I've just never been able to take to him. Happily X, Bill Hicks is the greatest stand-up comedian. He'd be in the top 5 for me, maybe a little bit lower. Richard Pryor for me is right up there at the top. Richard Pryor, I mean, amazing. One said I do love Al Murray, the pub landlord, and a white wine and a fruit-based drink for the lady. What else we got? You love Line of Duty. Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about it, Darren. Pukki is fantastic, and saying Pukki is fun. Who doesn't love saying Timo Pukki? You gotta love saying Timo Pukki. The world needs more Timo Pukki. As he said, Kevin De Bruyne should win Player of the Month for me. Just voted for Klopp now, said PDK. Gary Richards said Luis Garcia. The Turin goal is still one of his best ever goals. The goal that was at Anfield. If we're talking about the goal against Juventus where Hippie scored the other one, that was at Anfield. We drew 0-0 over in Turin against Juventus in that game, if memory serves me correct. Wasn't Alonso either injured or suspended, and we had Igor Bishkan, I think, in midfield, and Scott Carson in goal. Do you like Bill Burr? Yes, Bill Burr's amazing, Karen. Again, I should have mentioned him there when I was listing off the greats. As well as obviously fucking somebody who I speak about on this fucking show quite a lot when I say podcasts and stuff that I listen to. Bill Burr is absolutely up there with the greats. Joe Rogan as well. Joe Rogan is a tremendous stand-up comedian. Wanted Stuart Lee is one of my favourites. One of the best deadpan comedians of all time, mate. His dry wit is something to behold, Stuart Lee. Bill Hicks was amazing, said Sean O'Donnell. Pukki, he's just come up, said Craig Garner for Player of the Month. Darren Neal said, I think Russell Howard is brilliant. Went and seen him there on Wednesday at the Ulster Hall. He's funny, yeah. I wouldn't put him anywhere near the top level of comedians, but Russell Howard is definitely funny, yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. For me, Kevin Bridges as well. Kevin Bridges is a modern day legend already. I've seen Kevin Bridges on 3 separate occasions and never not almost pissed myself laughing. The man is just funny. Stephen Colbert is funny, said LFC Gamer. Steve Coogan, amazing comedian, to Bernadette Farrell. Yeah, he never did it for me. Steve Coogan, somebody who never did it for me. It's mad, we all have different styles of what we find funny. Never found Coogan funny. I never found Lee Evans funny. And I know that's going to shock a lot of people because Lee Evans is a huge comedian. I just never found him funny. Mickey Flanagan's class, Gary. Yeah, I agree with you on that one. Dylan Moran, brilliant. Seen him on a couple of occasions, Martin. Black Books as well, one of my favourite TV shows. As for a YouTube performer, Jonathan Pye cracks me up, said Juan. Bill Burr, never a reason to hit a woman as class, said Craig Adams. One of the best and most intelligent and articulate stand-up segments ever is the gun control one from Jim Jeffries, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen this before. If you haven't, and you've got maybe, I think it might be 12 minutes long, maybe I've got that wrong, but if you have time afterwards, just Google Jim Jeffries gun control and you will see one of the best stand-up sections and segments that is both poignant and hilarious that you'll ever see. Connor said, think I'm seeing Russell Howard next week. Look at this. Fucker's going to Florida and going to see Russell Howard. You know where the money's going in this channel, ladies and gents, and it ain't to the bald Irish fella here. It's the Mr. fucking student there. Ricky Gervais is good, said Darren Neal. He's alright. Very funny man. Love everything he's written, but stand up, not really my cup of tea, but not going to deny that Ricky Gervais is a funny human. Eddie Murphy stand up is wonderful, said Craig Adams. Delirious, amazing. Raw, amazing. Frankie Boyle. My wife will not come with me to see Frankie Boyle, Rev and I. I love Frankie Boyle. Frankie Boyle is everything I love about comedy. The freedom of speech, saying things that we're all afraid to say, but that we're all thinking deep down at times. And just some damn insulting shit as well. Yeah, Frankie Boyle's brilliant. John Hamilton said, do you still... So... Oh, you're talking to Connor. Is he still under the influence of Holland? Ramesh Ranganathan, actually seen him last year with my wife in the Olympia in Dublin. Very funny. Best comedy of all time is Man United, said Bassett. Actually, on that United thing, we spoke about squad values earlier on. I forgot to mention one really important part. So I said to you guys, Liverpool's squad is now valued at £959 million. Interestingly enough, Manchester United's squad is valued at 314 million less than Liverpool's is valued at. So that goes to show again what a jump Liverpool have made. Loads of people saying Jim Jeffries is funny. He is. He's fucking class. He's really funny. Actually, Jim Jeffries had his own sitcom as well, just in case people didn't know. Cat Williams. Karen, what can I say about Cat Williams? Sorry, for people tuning in watching football, we do go off on tangents at time. Cat Williams has put out more comedy specials than any other comedian, I think, in the history of comedy, and all put out by himself. Cat Williams is probably one of the hardest working comedians in the world. Cat Williams is fucking hilarious. As you've said, Karen, love Cat Williams. Love him to death. There's Capocalypse, amazing. The Pym Chronicles, absolutely amazing. So many good shows with Cat Williams. Connor, Ed Byrne is dog shit, mate. Dog shit. He's not at all funny. Jason Byrne's not at all funny. You're embarrassing the channel now, Connor, with your comedy nonsense. Joanne said not Frankie Boyle. I imagine you're guessing, Joanne, you probably find him too offensive, same as my wife. I just love that part of him, Joanne. I love a little bit of, what's the phrase I'm looking for to describe him? I love a little bit of cuntiness, Joanne. Rod Gilbert is very funny. Tim Minchin, I like Tim Minchin, especially when he does a bit of music and the old piano. As I've said to you guys before, I'm a stand-up comedy geek. It is what I spend most of my free time watching when I have it. I love stand-up comedy. Craig Adams said, best stand-up I ever watched live was Mickey Flanagan and Kevin Bridges. And you know, they're right up there for me as well, mate. Two of my favourite live comedians. Andrew Dice Clay. At his show, when they brought back his show, mate, I was so happy. Kevin, loads of love for Kevin Bridges as well. Go easy on Connor, said Andre. I have to call it out, mate. You know what I mean? When I see it, I have to educate the young man. It's my job. Where's the Billy Connolly fans at? Yeah, I mean, I never really got into Billy Connolly. I respect him as a legend in the game, but it's never really my type. Louis C.K., another person who I had the pleasure of going to see, Craig. Look, I know when I say Louis C.K., people are going to talk about him doing what he did in front of ladies. And I'm not trying to defend that, but as a comedian, Louis C.K. is sensational. Absolutely sensational. Went to see Amy Schumer as well. She was quite good. Really enjoyed seeing her. What's the other girl's name that I watched recently? And she was very... Catherine Ryan, actually. Catherine Ryan has a couple of good stand-up specials out on Netflix. Who are we buying in January? Werner. He's in good form at the minute, isn't he? El Timo Werner. While we're talking about nominations for awards, actually, Harry Wilson's free kick for Bournemouth against Manchester City has been nominated for the August Budweiser Goal of the Month award. So, fingers crossed and best of luck to him. One more bit of Liverpool news tonight. Reds Academy Director Alex Inglethorpe has revealed where the club decided to enter a team into the EFL trophy this season. Speaking about it, he said, "We thought we'd give it a go this year and we're probably in a slightly better position with players that we have on loan than we were before. We were maybe a little bit light on numbers, and I think some games we might have to go to we're a bit younger than we would want to, and maybe it'll be a tough evening for us. But we're prepared to give it a go, give it a good go as we can possibly." Or excuse me, I'm going to start that again. "We're prepared to give it as good a go as we possibly can. And if it's 3 great games for the kids to experience, which is something close to senior football. There'll be a crowd, there'll be something riding on the game, and they'll be playing against senior players that will offer something completely different to under-23s football, which is really just an extension of youth team football." So again, we spoke about this on a previous stream, that the Reds are in the EFL trophy this year, and Alex Inglethorpe speaking about why they did that, and it's kind of the reasons we all thought. It's to give the guys experience in games that matter against proper old-fashioned seasoned pros, in front of big crowds with pressure on them, and I think it's a really good idea personally. Dennis Leary, I never really liked Gary. I thought he nicked too much stuff from Bill Hicks, if I'm being honest. Your twin Dara O'Brien is very funny. Fucking, I tell you what, he hosts everything, doesn't he, Dara O'Brien? If I could get some of his work, if he's ever needs to phone in sick and they need a body double, do you know what I mean? I'm here. I'll give it a bash. Definitely Azzy Victoria Wood, rest in peace. Victoria Wood, the "Let's Do It" song that Victoria Wood did, the "Let's Do It, Let's Do It," that's one of my earliest comedic memories, actually. Yeah, Victoria Wood, rest her soul, was a tremendously... and Caroline Aherne as well, obviously not a stand-up, but written some fucking fantastic comedy shows. But yeah, Victoria Wood, a legend of the game, without a doubt. Mickey Flanagan has one good joke. Brian, I've seen him live, mate. Mickey Flanagan is class. And if you're talking about the out joke, he's got so many more, mate. Mickey Flanagan live is really good. Although, look, again, it's all about opinions. My boss went to see Jethro last week. Can't remember his own routines anymore, said Lux. Connor said Daniel Sloss is good. He's fairly young still. Hope you enjoy your time in Florida. Thank you, Bassett, mate. We'll have loads more time. Loads more streams before we go. We're heading next Friday. Our flight goes out next Friday to Florida. So, yeah, really looking forward to it. Victoria Wood was funny, said one. Yeah, she really, really was. Joe Rogan, he's still doing stand-up? Yeah, he was actually doing a show recently, himself and Dave fucking Chappelle on the same show, mate. Oh, can you imagine? Yeah, Joe Rogan, he had a new special out actually in the last, well, I say new, I think it was out around October time, called Strange Times, and brilliant, very good. If you've got Netflix, the selection of stand-up comedy shows on Netflix is outstanding, and Joe Rogan's latest one, Strange Times, is brilliant as well. Morning from the sunny Gold Coast, said Brett Dawson, mate, how are you? It is mad, isn't it? I'm sitting here now 11 o'clock at night, buddy, and you're getting up, but yet we're still here talking about the Reds. Love it, and great to have you in, mate. Yes, she wasn't in our Ladies League, good show. Any space in the suitcase, Florida? It's a big suitcase I'm bringing over, Scotty, mate. I'm not going to lie, you probably could fit in it. Woman's Weekly was never the same after that Victoria Wood song, Craig. Yeah, she's brilliant, Brian, wasn't she? What a talented lady. Neil, how are you, mate? Welcome. Thank you for the peace sign, mate. How are you? Craig, say this fast. Ken Dodd's dad's dog's dead. I think I got it right there, did I? Isn't Spike Milligan who put on his headstone, "I told you I was sick"? Wasn't that Spike Milligan? Fucking brilliant thing to put in your headstone. Only Fools and Horses, yes sir. Only Fools and Horses is, as I've said earlier on, for me, the greatest comedy television show of all time, bar none. Amazing. That, Seinfeld, Curb Your Enthusiasm, but Only Fools and Horses. John Sullivan, I mean, what can you say about the writing of John Sullivan and that television show? And David Jason, Nicholas Lyndhurst, it's just outstanding. Fawlty Towers as well, 12 episodes of some of the best comedy you will ever see. Lee said, I'm up in 8 hours and you're just eating your tea. Mate, you're like me. I'll finish this stream and I'll have my first food of the day, believe it or not. Because as you know, I'm on a diet trying to get my fat ass trimmed down. And yeah, it'll be after this stream where I'll have my first food of the day. Seinfeld, Gary. I'm still trying to get my daughter to watch Seinfeld now. My wife doesn't get it. She doesn't find Seinfeld that funny. I think Seinfeld is wonderful. Still game, said Easy Scotty. Likes that one. Faulty Towers, Stephen Owens, amazing. Absolutely amazing. Don't mention the war. I mentioned it once, but I think I got away with it. You started it. No, you started it. No, you did. You invaded Poland. It's fucking brilliant, mate. I am from Barcelona. I mean, I just love Faulty Towers. It's absolutely amazing. Faddy Tats. Oh, you've lost me there, Brian. I don't know if that's in relation to me, if that's in relation to something else. I don't know if you're fucking trolling, mate, but feel free to elaborate on Faddy Tats. Junkie Funky Smith said Victoria Wood sketch where the woman was going to swim the channel. She's, yeah, just brilliant. She's absolute amazing comedian. Jesus now, Craig. You have to be eating. I'm eating about 1,000 calories a day, mate. I'm trying to lose weight. What can I say? Have I ever watched Still Game? Is that the two owl lads from Scotland? Is that the show, Scotty? I tried to watch it once or twice. And I just couldn't get into it. If that's the right show, I could be wrong on it. I know nothing about the horse. Dragonfly was the name of the horse that he was supposed to bet on in Faulty Towers. Spike Milligan wanted that put in his head song, Craig, but the powers had objected to it, so it's written in Irish instead. Oshguelga. Thank you very much for that, mate. Wow, I love being educated and stuff like that, Elijah John. Thank you. Faulty Towers, only one series. I can't remember if it's only one series, mate, but it's only 12 episodes. I can't remember how exactly it was laid out series-wise, but it's 12 episodes only. Dean said, eating breakfast, lunch, dinner, chicken, fish, broccoli, carrots, banana, kiwi, 2 litres water, don't eat later, it sits in stomach, acid reflux. I've kind of got the weight loss thing down to a T, you know, and I know different things work for different people. 2 litres water a day, defo on board with that, mate, and I do drink that. For me, I'm a night owl anyway, so I've always eaten weirdly. But yeah, I know what works for me, Dean, when it comes to the weight loss, mate. I was at nearly 20 stone at one point and got down to 12.5. Now I'm back up now, but yeah, I've got this, buddy. But you're right, eating late can definitely lead to acid reflux. Nitwit or Dragonfly? I'm almost sure that it was called Dragonfly. 99% sure, 99.999% sure that the horse was called Dragonfly in Faulty Towers. Maybe somebody can fill me in on that one. Was it Dragonfly? He said nitwit. I think your woman was behind him doing like this, trying to go. And yeah, maybe I'm wrong. They're like, I'm on a seafood diet. When I see food, I eat it. One of the oldest jokes, but an old one, but a good one. It was 2 series, 2 by 6 episodes, said Dean Dixon. Thank you very much, pal. The Irish language, it's a disgrace. I'm trying very hard to bite my fucking tongue here, mate. You're talking about my country's language. Well, second language really, but you're still talking about our native tongue. So be very fucking careful, mate, when you're talking. I don't give a shit even if you are Irish. Be very fucking careful when you're talking about Ireland and its language, mate. Yeah, it's our fucking language at the end of the day, pal. You've seen my wife cook toast, Polly. Boris Johnson is very funny. Yeah, don't even want to get into politics. We don't try and not touch politics or religion on the stream, mate. I know you're only making light of the subject. Rabsy Nesbitt. Now there is a show, Bernadette. Jamesy and Rabsy Nesbitt. What a fucking show that was. Oh, my dad, it was one of my dad's favourite shows, actually. What about Father Ted? These ones are small, but those ones are far away. Yeah, Father Ted was brilliant. Dermot Morgan actually went to the same school that I went to. A little bit of I don't know if it's knowledge or whatever, but yeah, he went to the same school as me. Obviously, different fucking times. What have we got? Hi Craig, don't you think any other player with Messi stats would win the league over VVD? What do you mean by win the league? I don't know what you mean by that, mate. But because his name is Lionel Messi, there's double standards. I don't know what you mean by win the league, mate. Sorry, I'm confused by that one. Look, nobody here, me in particular, I'm a massive Lionel Messi fan, mate. As I've said before, for me, the greatest of our generation. And every year that Lionel Messi has won the Ballon d'Or, I think he's thoroughly deserved it. But I genuinely, hand on heart, feel that Virgil van Dijk deserves it. Football isn't just about goal scoring. So you're talking about his stats, and Lionel Messi's stats are obviously tremendous. But football isn't just about scoring goals, mate. You can't forget about the art of defending, and you can't underappreciate what Virgil van Dijk has done, both at club level and international level. So, no, I don't think there's double standards. I think Lionel Messi has gotten plaudits, and rightly so, for many, many years, as is Cristiano Ronaldo. But Virgil van Dijk, for me, is the best player in the world in the past 12 months and deserves every award that comes his way. But after that, Lionel Messi will be remembered, and rightly so, as the greatest player of our generation. I don't like Brendan Grace, no. I really don't like Brendan Grace. Don't find him funny at all. Mrs. Brown's Boys, that is something that divides people so much. I like Mrs. Brown's Boys. I really do. I know a lot of people that absolutely despise it, though. Anyone know what balcony is like in Vicar Street? You're better off one of the tiered blocks. Yes, you're better off in the highest tiered block on either side, Connor, of Vicar Street, without a shadow of a doubt. Don't go for the first tiered block, because it's not actually a tiered block. It looks like one, but it isn't. Go for the highest tiered block on either side, mate, if you're booking seats in Vicar Street. Yeah, definitely. What else we got? My old man went to school with Joe Dolan, Sir Brian Kelly. My mother loved Joe Dolan. Rabsy Nesbitt, Gregory Fisher. Don't know if he's related to Joanne. A great show, Joanne. An absolutely brilliant show. The Office, Extras, and The Last Gervais shows with Dean Dixon. Again, all very good shows that I thoroughly enjoyed watching. Is what seeded, Brian? Sorry. If you're talking about Vicar Street, then yes, that's seeded. That area is Vicar Street. Most shows in Vicar Street, comedy shows, would be all seated, but the balconies are definitely seated. Right, ladies and gents, you know what? This is fun, and I could have talking about comedy and stuff for ages, but alas, we've got to go. So look, I'm going to leave it there for tonight. Thank you guys as always for watching. If you're watching this later on, if you're watching this in playback, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button as well before you head off. Look, thank you guys so much as always. Enjoy yourselves, your Fridays, your weekends, whatever you might be getting up to. I hope life treats you all very well. Thank you for your time as always. And I will chat to you all soon. Up the motherfucking Reds.